we just simply plan on giving away to people.
Good evening, everybody. This is What Does the Bible Say? This is a live special edition. How special? Well, super short notice. We're glad to be doing this with you. We have got great dialogue for us to have tonight. Micah's got good information we're going to be looking at. This is normally his show, and I'm just a special guest tonight. What we want to do tonight is we want to talk to you about growing in our inner man and how we're going to get there. When you were growing, maybe you didn't do it, and I'll tell you, we had growth spurts so big we both got stretch marks still on us because we just, boom, we hit it. Maybe you were feeling the pain and you had to have somebody come in, had to have your mom or dad come in and massage your legs because you were having growing pains, and that's what we're talking about. Growing pains. Let's all look together at Acts 18:14. This is what the New Testament church had to deal with, and I'll step over to the side. Micah will have it up for you. It says, when Paul was now about to open his mouth, Gallio said unto the Jews, if it were a matter of wrong or wicked lewdness, O ye Jews, reason would that I should bear with you. But if it be a question of words and names and of your law, look you to it, for I will be no judge of such matters. And what we really want to do tonight is we want to talk about morality, righteousness, and we want to ask you, are we really that bad? Like, are we on the Virginia top most wanted list? We're just people carrying a Bible. We want to help the community. And you might be saying, Caleb, what are y'all going to be talking about? Micah, we want to see our first video. Can you give us a little bit of what we're going to see?
All right, well, this is Keith Ritchie, and most of you, if you've kept up with what does the Bible say, you're very familiar with Keith Ritchie. He did the crosswalk 2 years ago. You and I went to it. They're carrying this big cross through Martinsville, and we're there asking them, where's your scriptural authority for doing such a practice? Yeah. Where did Jesus ever tell any... Now, I know Jesus said that you were to take up your cross and follow him, but that wasn't literal. We're not to take up a cross. We're supposed to sacrifice ourselves like Jesus sacrificed himself literally. We followed them around trying to ask them questions. Where's your scriptural authority for this? Not a bit coming from it out in public. Yeah. You're right there for everybody to see. Clearly, you're wanting people to see. The library, city library, doing the faith around the world discussion where he just, brought about so much doubt over what the Bible actually teaches about Christianity and how people need to view it and all these different things. He didn't want to talk at that event. Just ran out of the library super fast. Called him at the library again because he had another event. So we're there trying to ask, what about this person? It was actually a sheik, somebody in the sheik religion. Is she going to heaven based upon her beliefs, or would she in fact need to convert over to Islam? Or not Islam, convert over to Christianity? No response. Just boom, zoom, out of the library. So today we were involved. I was wanting to get comments from Mr. Ritchie because of what, do we want to tell what he's doing first? Or just play the clip?
Let's just say this. You mentioned the crosswalk that they did. It's out in the open. Mm-hmm. It's on public property. Today's interaction took place on city property.
Right.
If you see us, I hardly ever go to Walmart, but the other day I went to Walmart and somebody stopped me and they said, hey, don't I see you on TV? And I said, well, if you're watching What Does the Bible Say? They say, that's it. I don't care. If you want to have a conversation with me, you see us out in public, it's not a big deal. Mm-hmm. But we had this interaction with Keith Ritchie out in public, and this is what it's not like it turned into this. This is how Keith Ritchie started it out. Mm-hmm. Hello, Mr. Ritchie. I'd like to ask you about your upcoming...
I've got the
speed
turned up because we were trying to find something a moment ago. Give me just a second here to get rid of that. Got to exit full screen to do it. Enhancements. Bear with us, as we said.
Yeah, they're not going anywhere. They want to see they want to see what Keith Ritchie's doing, besides walking his little dog. The Art Center. Can you give me a working definition of lasciviousness? What type of message do you think it sends to the community that you're going to be dancing, salsa dancing, with someone who's not your wife?
The sheriff's department.
Okay.
For the sheriff's department.
For what? What did I do? I'm on a city sidewalk. What did I do? I'm asking questions, and they're pertinent questions. Micah has been, about to do a story on some activity that Keith Ritchie's involved in. I asked him about it. Now, can you go back a little bit, too, and let them see how that played out? Look, You don't own the street, right? Look at the beginning. I'm having to cross the street.
Hello, Mr. Ritchie.
This isn't threatening, is it?
Nope.
I mean,
Hello, Mr. Ritchie.
okay, thank you. Give me something, right? And this is what I was wearing today. Suit and tie. You know, this is not hostile territory. But Keith Ritchie's response, let's do it again, and then can we stop like on the subtitle so everybody can see it?
Okay.
Hello, Mr. Ritchie. I'd like to ask you about your upcoming dance at the Art Center. Can you give me a working definition of lasciviousness? What type of message do you think it sends to the community that you're going to be dancing, salsa dancing, with someone who's not your wife?
Now, I'll step out a little bit too. His only response, Keith Ritchie is fixing to be dancing up at the local art center, salsa dancing. I'm saying, you know what salsa is, don't you? Right?
If they don't, I've got some descriptions of
Well, I'm telling you, salsa, it's like the name, hot and spicy. They're not playing around. This is your local Methodist pastor is going to be salsa dancing with someone who's not his wife. And here's his only response. I've called the sheriff department, so the sheriff is on the way. And my response is, for what? I'm standing on a city sidewalk. I have not touched y'all's property. What? And I'm asking you questions about something that you shouldn't be doing. You're calling yourself a man of God. You say, Caleb, you know, and I tell y'all, Micah's the one who sent me down there. So, you say, Micah, why you got Caleb going down there to talk to Keith Ritchie? And this is the thing, y'all. Can we get you to see that we're not the bad guy here? I'm just asking about lasciviousness, Galatians 5:19. Can you show the people that recent newspaper article about the current state of Martinsville?
Yep.
This was in February 16th's newspaper. Look at this, y'all, and I'll move again. He's going to bring it up. The city of Martinsville is near the bottom of the list for safest cities in Virginia. We are on, out of 37 listed, we are number 30. We're not doing good. But y'all, as we see all of this crime that's happening in Martinsville, you're not going to find the Church of Christ on this page. So our question is, why does Keith Ritchie get to waste the time of the local police department? The police department is not your bellboy. We're on 37 cities. We are number 30. And that's not like saying, oh, well, we're down at the bottom. We're not number one. The order is reverse order. It's going from top to bottom, and we're close to the bottom. We're basically say we're number 7 out of the top 10. And you know we're not worried about the Church of Christ. The only way you'd be worried about the Church of Christ is if you're a false teacher, like Keith Ritchie in the Methodist denomination.
I mean, I am in fact needing the police officers to investigate somebody that broke into my car Saturday night.
Yep.
And what's Keith Ritchie doing? He's got them tied up, trying to chase us around because, oh, we're out here asking them questions.
And not even setting foot on the property. Everybody saw that I'm walking across the street. Hello, Mr. Ritchie. Still on the sidewalk, Mr. Ritchie, never touching their property. And these are not like, and this is the thing too, people talk about our wives. What can I do about it? I don't care. But here's the thing, Keith Ritchie has placed himself in this position. Nobody's making him go dancing with another woman, salsa dancing. And I'm saying this, y'all.
And the other woman is married too.
Oh, man.
So,
see, I didn't know that.
So she's married, got children, and here she is, got a husband, but she's dancing with somebody that's not her husband.
So let's go ahead. Someone says, well, what's wrong with dancing? Y'all, Micah, you may, like, I want to look at Matthew 14. But you were talking to me about this is reverse order of how the movie is.
Right, and I've got that slide in here. I've got that animation. Let me just get down to the slide, and I've got a lot of things open here, so it's probably wanting to lag just a little bit. So here's the actual newspaper article that got me on this track. So like Caleb said, I was going to go out there, but Caleb, can I just like Paul said, can I a little bit in my folly, boast a little bit? I had been out with one of our brothers, Eugene, that we offer his cell phone number. Earlier today, I'd been out to visit one of our widows that her mother just passed away. So Eugene and I are out visiting her. We went out and tried to sit down and have a Bible study with somebody that we've been discussing with for several months. So I've already got that on my plate this morning. And then this afternoon, I'm trying to do this while also get ready for class, and get ready for this television program. So it's not a thing of that, oh, this was just my main objective.
Yeah, we're busy. We got stuff going on, all
Yeah.
kinds of stuff going on.
So, and, some might say, good stuff. This is good stuff, but certainly, James chapter 1:27, pure religion on the side of God is visiting widows.
Yeah.
So I'm certainly about my business that God is wanting us to be involved in that area while also trying to handle this. So, I was there with you, but then had to run and do other things. But here's the newspaper article, and so like you're saying, the movie Footloose. Keith Ritchie, you are no Kevin Bacon. You are not going to save the town in this setting. And as Caleb, I have not seen Footloose, but I know the gist of the story. Footloose, the preacher in town, is, he's the stick in the mud. He's the one ruining everybody's, good time. Kevin Bacon comes in and saves the day, and let's dance. Well, now it's reversed, and you got the preacher who's actually the one trying to bring in, something that is in fact going to be hurtful with influence and with the young people, and who's actually trying to put a stop to it. The young people are now trying to stop this older generation from, this foolishness, and that's really what it is.
Well, I would say too, Micah, when like we said, he put himself into this situation, I can imagine that considering how embarrassing this is, and if this is your preacher, you ought to be embarrassed. And if you're saying, boy, I am embarrassed, hey, we get it. We know where you're coming from. Not literally, but we can empathize with you. Leave! And you know what, Micah? Let's pull up a separate video.
Okay.
This is from the jump drive I gave you, and it'll just say lawyer. That's it. We're just going to have the first 20 seconds. This is one of the lawyers for Liberty University. We're going to have a couple of seconds. This is what we're saying. Is Keith Ritchie embarrassed by this? He ought to be, because he's going out dancing, salsa dancing with another man's wife, and he's supposed to be this man of God, got ash on his forehead for Ash Wednesday. You ought to be embarrassed. And that's in some. Let's pull up the Bible. 2 Thessalonians 3:14. Someone says, you can't say that he ought to be embarrassed. Why? Paul said it. Look at this. He says, if any man obey not our word, by this epistle note that man have no company with him, that he may be ashamed. Now, if you're ashamed, you're embarrassed, what's the difference? Is he embarrassed? I can tell you this. Why did he go right to, I've already called the sheriff's office. I hadn't laid a foot on their property. I'm in the street. I'm on a sidewalk. We're number 7 on the top 10 worst, most dangerous cities in Virginia, and he's calling the police? Look at this. Look what's going to end up happening and the danger, the risk they're running when you start trying to when you want to get the law involved so that you can make a point and drive home a point, the Liberty University lawyers are going to tell you that doesn't work. Here we go.
Going back to your Danville situation, I find that in most communities there are certain relationships that exist, sometimes having been built over lots of years, between certain lawyers, certain judges, certain business people, whatever.
Right.
And for a outsider, be that a real outsider or somebody who maybe even lives in the community but yet is not treated as an insider, there are a lot of landmines and other kinds of things that you have to deal with. I know things that you have to deal with. There are a lot of landmines and other kinds of things that you have to deal with.
What's he saying? When folk want to unnecessarily get the law involved so that they can drive a point home, what's Keith Ritchie calling the police for? If you're a man of God, and who knows what he thinks about him having the Holy Spirit, you know what I'm saying? Man, strike me blind, answer me on the spot, but this business about y'all keep roping the police in, look, the police have a serious job, and Micah, I hate it for these guys. The deputies, they come out wasting their time. Who knows what's going on? It's like it is such a, I'm saying these pastors, these Methodists and Episcopals and Apostolic pastors are just treating these deputies with such belittlement. I mean, like, seriously, it's not beyond the realm of possibility that the deputies tell these grown men, man up.
Yeah.
You're not being abused. You're not being persecuted. And this lawyer, who's got experience, he represents Liberty University. He says, you're going through a minefield if you're going to start trying to basically make points and abuse the law system.
And it's, it's a situation like we were listening to another clip where somebody inside of the Episcopal Church years ago was trying to tell us what to do and this and that and whatever. And I was thinking about this today. What if it had been, let's say BTW had a change of heart. Now you might say, what are you talking about, change of heart? BTW has been for years advertising places where dancing and drinking and all these type of things are going on. Let's just say BTW had a change of heart and they decided to go over to Keith Ritchie's place and ask him, why are you doing this, man?
Yeah.
You think Keith Ritchie would have treated Chad Hall the way he treated us?
I will say this. The next time he would, right?
Oh, yeah.
I mean, the moment that you start putting pressure, and it's not much pressure, right?
Right.
Y'all, and I know all y'all know what that episode of Andy Griffith where the barber Floyd, he said, oh, it was assault. He hit me real hard. That's these pastors. Wimp. And that's what Mike is saying. When they think you're coming friendly, it's no big deal. But the first time that you begin to even appear to cross them, you are on his list. Mm-hmm. And what list? Head list. You're just done. That's what that's like. So let's talk about a possible minefield. We got another clip. This used to be, she was a TV personality, local. Everybody knows Elka, right? Listen to what Elka was saying years ago. She was beginning just like, we have to say this. We know that Keith Ritchie comprehends and understands the arguments we're making, Mike. And let's go ahead and take a moment with the audience. What is our beef with the Methodist and the Episcopalian denomination? I'll start and you follow in. Number one, these are supposed to be Protestant denominations. And why we were talking with them today partly is that they're actually involving themselves in Catholic tradition. Mm-hmm. Ash Wednesday is a Catholic denomination tradition. Why would Methodists do Ash Wednesday? It's not biblical. Right. That's my reason.
And even when, like in the past, we have the interfaith where we went to Nicole's congregation, he actually ended up saying that, I can't remember his exact terms, but it was very derogatory towards the Catholic Church. Okay. But yet he's still involved in their practices. So again, that's one reason as to why those two are getting lumped in together. So you're asking from, my reason
anything. Like people are saying, why go out and talk to these people anyways? One thing that they both have in common, Episcopalians and Methodists, they believe and they teach, even though it's not in the Bible, that a person can be sprinkled for baptism instead of fully immersed. Mm-hmm. Or we can pour some water on your head. That will not save you. You say, what does that mean? You will not go to heaven if you die in the man-made denomination that you're in, and let's just say you're just adding it, right? Number one, you're already dying in a man-made denomination, which is bad, but then number two, you weren't even immersed, mm-hmm. right? You're sprinkled. That's why we're going so hard. So it's not like someone tuning in and say, boy, they hate this Keith Ritchie guy. We don't hate Keith Ritchie.
Well, it's the thing, too, that when they're actually making our job that much harder. They see Nicole, Keith Ritchie, and these different pastors, elders are supposed to be examples to those that are, following them. They see their pastors doing these type of things that's clearly taught against in the Scripture, and then they just want to lump the Church of Christ in there with them. I was like, well, you're just like them. No, we're not like them. And this is how we have the opportunity to show you that. Yeah. Out in public, confronting what it is that they're doing, trying to give them a voice. That's why we were there, so that he could actually have a say before we got on
How
here.
are you going to be mad at free coverage?
I don't know.
It's like if the newspaper came out, you say thank you. Yeah. If the local news came out, you say thank you. The reason you don't say thank you to the Church of Christ is because your practices are not biblical and you can't give a response. So, we don't hate anybody, but you could end up just like Miss Elka. Miss Elka, years ago, you can go ahead and get it ready for us. She was a member over at, now Keith Ritchie wasn't there yet, but she used to be a part of Uptown Methodist, and what do they call themselves?
First United Methodist.
Okay, First United Methodist is Uptown Martinsville. First United Methodist. Elka used to be in there with them. But listen to what she says, and I'm going to tell you about Elka's change.
It has been astounding to me. I have heard people on Cable 6 say that there are different denominations, but they're saying that now this is what I heard, or I perceived this, that the Church of Christ, that it tells in this Bible that the Church of Christ is the only church. Now, there's these letters that says this is the Church of Christ. I wish somebody would explain that to me. And I'm sure Johnny Robertson would do that. Now, someone asked me the other evening, what did I think of Johnny Robertson, and I'm going to give you my opinion tonight, and they'll probably throw me off the air, throw me out of the city, throw me. Well, I don't believe that it is fair for any one person who claims to know the Word of God to get up and say that the only church is the Church of Christ. Now, I'm not sure what he's talking about.
Go ahead. Now, this is a woman, Miss Elka, who used to be in First United Methodist here in Martinsville, and she said, I don't know, they're probably going to run me out of town, and that's what Keith Ritchie would like to do to us. Do you know what Miss Elka did? Miss Elka kept studying her Bible, and she full-blown left First United Methodist in Martinsville. And you say, well, that don't mean nothing. I will tell you what she did. She made sure she wanted it to be made sure. She made it her purpose. I'm going to be baptized for the remission of my sins. Now, you say that, you still say that ain't nothing? Once you give up your sprinkling in the Methodist church and you say, I need to be fully immersed, and then you attach on the scriptural term for the remission of sins, you're done with them. And that's that landmine that Keith Ritchie is about to wade through. You play this game like the local PD is your puppet, then the Liberty University lawyer team is going to tell you you're running through a minefield. And this is what it is. The membership is going to see, Micah, man, y'all, you just don't know. The conversations that we had behind the scenes, it's not like, y'all remember that, I'm talking about all these old cartoons. That old cartoon where the race car driver, he was the bad guy and he had that dog and they would go, oh yeah. That's not us. I'm calling Micah on the phone and I'm telling him, Micah, man, hate to do it to him. And I'm not talking about Keith. I'm talking about the fact that Keith hid out in his building forever, and I'm talking to women. You're not going to see him tonight, but I ask these ladies, they're members there, and one of them gives approval. She says, it's okay, and another one says, it's okay. I hate to have to talk to these lady members. I wish that Keith would be a man, be the, quote, pastor that he claims to be, and come out and just have the conversation.
The Titus 1,
Absolutely.
9, and 10, stopping the mouths of the gainsayers, but yet what's he doing? He's sending his sheep out there to battle,
sending
battle
the
wolves.
female sheep,
yeah.
Sending nothing but female sheep out. I hate to do it to them. I wish that they could just, get a pass, but man, when First United Methodist makes all these innocent ladies, makes them the face, what can I do? I'm just an outsider, I'm just trying to get down to the root of it. So,
and then on top of that, going back to Ash Wednesday, it's Ash Wednesday, which is supposed to, consecrate within you a new resolution of holiness and purity and be more like Christ, compassion and loving and all these different things. That's not doing anything for them.
Now, let's make a segue here. Let's have Keith get to have his say again. Let everybody be introduced to Keith's mode of operation. What's his playbook? I'm going to dial 911. For what? I'm standing on a city sidewalk. We want everybody to have this fresh because we're fixing to make a whole new, we're leaving this one. This was point number 1. We're saying Martinsville is in the top 10. We're number 7 in the top 10 least safest cities in all of Virginia.
We've got an opioid epidemic, and they're worried about us.
And that's the thing. People start talking about jobs around here. There are jobs around here. One of the biggest problems is that people cannot pass a drug test. So when we say all that, you're not going to find the Church of Christ in these statistics. Now, it's just a sad thing. I don't mind it. I appreciate these guys. I am on a first-name basis with all manner of the deputies in town. Some of them, I don't know their names. They know me. When we were at the Episcopalian church, whatever year it was, the deputy got out of his car and he said, what's going on, Caleb? I didn't know him. But I hate that this is the way it is. I think they're doing a good job. I appreciate what they do for the community. I just hate that the pastors are abusing them.
Now, here's another aspect to that. Caleb, we've actually had direct religious communication with Martinsville deputies. Remember going to the Masons?
Oh, yeah.
Masons
Well, I
building?
thought you were going a whole other direction. Johnny baptized a deputy.
Okay,
Remember
so,
that?
yeah, that's right. So here we have the police. They have firsthand interaction with us. We're at the Masons building over on Starling. One of these guys is a deputy. I don't know at what point he ends up telling us he is a deputy. And I don't know how many times he ended up saying to us, well, I got to go.
Yeah.
And his wife ended up calling.
Oh, man. This is not a thing to put him on the spot.
Right.
It's Rob Fincher.
Yeah.
Super nice. Very polite. I see Rob around town, and I can always talk to Rob.
Yeah.
We actually saw this individual, too. This is Eddie Cassidy.
Okay.
He was out there with Rob. These are nice guys.
And they know we're nice, even though we're discussing with them.
I wish that they didn't get called out to do this nonsense.
Yeah.
It's like you got all kinds of stuff going on, and the Methodists drag you out from whatever you're doing. And I think probably at this point, too, you all know, you deputies probably know, like when you're getting the call, this ain't nothing.
Yeah.
And it's the same thing in Danville. When they, Sons of Confederacy, were out there showing their rebel flags, and they're on the sidewalk. We're talking to them on a sidewalk.
Mm-hmm.
The Danville deputies had to come out, and they were like, they said, they're talking with us, and they said, these dudes came out here to be seen. You're going to put them on TV. What's the problem, right? It's win-win.
Mm-hmm.
So we're leaving point number one, y'all, right? We're not in the crime stats. The Church of Christ is not hurting anybody. We're hurting your pastor's pocketbook because hopefully you're going to 2 Thessalonians 3:14. You're going to become ashamed of this man-made denomination that you're in. You're going to become ashamed of the behavior of Keith Ritchie. And number one, that he cannot uphold the truth. But then number two, that he's going salsa dancing with another man's wife. Totally unacceptable.
Caleb, if you had made that statement in any other venue,
Absolutely.
nobody would be for that.
Yep.
If this, remove it from, this is Piedmont Arts. If we had evidence and we said Keith Ritchie is out salsa dancing with some other man's wife, everybody would be up in arms. But now all of a sudden it's moved into the venue of, this is dancing for the arts. As if that still doesn't have any danger inside of it.
It would be the local gossip around town that if so-and-so, whatever we got, if we got something locally that's got like a dance floor, if they went out, everybody next day would say, oh man, do you know who I saw last night? I saw Keith Ritchie salsa dancing with Ted's wife. Can you believe that? Everybody would be all over it.
Yeah.
Now, there's no way you're going to give this a pass. No way. So let's hit a number two about Acts 18:14. If this were really a problem of unlawfulness, wickedness, lewdness, I would bear with you. But if it's going to be a question of your own law, I leave you to it. Do y'all realize that we have been working in this community, the brethren of the Church of Christ, our brothers and sisters, these individuals who have come out of denominationalism just like you need to, they're working at the same mission to bring about unity. Do you know that years ago, he's retired now, he was the chief of police, Chief Police Rogers, Mike Rogers, did a full-blown investigation on the Church of Christ, and his conclusion was, they are not a cult, they are good folk, and they are worthy of your trust. You might be saying, why in the world would Mike Rogers do an investigation on the Church of Christ? And really, it was like, background. And let's talk about this too. You're running like background checks, right?
Right, yeah.
You think he didn't see Johnny Robertson's past?
Oh, I'm sure.
Johnny Robertson, he's like 18, 19. He commits a crime, he goes to jail. Even Mike Rogers gives Johnny a pass. That's in your past, Johnny. And when he does the full-blown investigation, he says the Church of Christ is not a cult. It is worthy of your trust. They're a good group. You know why he was doing that? Because Mike Rogers' son was baptized into the Church of Christ, where our dad was preaching. And you know what else? He did not just become a member of the Church of Christ. He left the Episcopalian denomination. So as we look at all of this, and we just want to let everybody know, like if you're saying, who's Mike Rogers? Is this just I don't think anybody's going to say it, a figment of y'all's imagination. This is a local individual. And the local police officers, and y'all, it's not just Mike Rogers, gave us a thumbs up. Mike Rogers actually, just told us ahead of time. There was one instance where a denomination rented out a community center. We don't want to cause trouble. Micah played a video a moment ago where I could hear where they went to the Episcopalian denomination, and you asked the lady, "Are you an authority?" Mm-hmm. And she said, "I am the rector, and you need to leave." And Micah said, "Okay, we're leaving." We're not trying to cause trouble. When a person of authority tells us to go, we're going. Mike Rogers would actually extend himself, and he would, give us the heads up. This denomination might be renting a community center, and yes, it's a community center, but when they actually rent it, it's like they own it. So when they tell you to go, you need to go. Thank you. Thank you for the heads up. We abide by that, right? We're just trying to get down to some Bible discussion, and just we're peaceable people. Let's give y'all some more information, right? You're tired of Acts 18, verse number 14. Go to Acts chapter 7. No, go to Acts chapter 6. Now, look at this in verse number 9. And I'm going to move over. Then there arose certain of the synagogue, which is called the synagogue of the Libertines, and Cyrenians and Alexandrians, of them of Cilicia and of Asia, disputing with Stephen. And when they were not able to resist the wisdom of the Spirit by which he spake, then they suborned men, which said, "We have heard him speak blasphemous words against Moses and against God." You know what that word means? Highlight that for me, Micah, verse number 11, third word.
Suborn?
Yep, suborn. Look at that, y'all. They actually went out and they just hired folk. I would just surely hope that that's not what the denominations in this town are going to reduce themselves to. But Mike, I got to say it. Haven't we already seen them purge themselves once in the court system? We're not bad guys. And you think about this. Are we going to ask you for money? No, we're not asking you for money. We're not wanting you to make a donation, a love offering, pastor appreciation, Easter Sunday coming up. You need to give extra to that. We don't care about your money. And now let's do this, y'all. You'll probably never hear your preacher talk about this. Let's go to 1 Thessalonians. Chapter 2. And let's hit verse number 8 and 9. He says, "So being affectionately desirous of you, we were willing to have imparted unto you, not the gospel of God only, but also that of our own souls, because you were dear unto us. For you remember, brethren, our labor and travail, for laboring night and day, because we would not be chargeable unto any of you. We preached unto you the gospel of God. Ye are witnesses, and God also, how holy and justly and unblameably we behaved ourselves among you that believe." And he's going to go on and say, because we desired not the things that you had, he says, we desired you. You know we're not bad guys. We put your pastor on the spot, and I got to be honest, Micah, some of them like it, don't they?
Oh, yeah.
It's like they're saying, "Thank you, finally." I don't get it. I don't know why you stay in a denomination where you actually hate, you talk trash and just grumble about the pastor, and I totally understand it. Like when the pastor comes in, and this was at Silver Creek Baptist, and he just said, he comes in late, he's not even teaching the Bible class, and he shuts it down and says, "I want everybody to go out and see the van." And then the deacon who was teaching said, "Well, pastor said, y'all." Man, I'd hate that. Wouldn't you hate that?
I mean,
if you put all that study time into a Bible class and some dude shut you down early.
Right.
Man.
I mean, here we are studying God's Word, and you're more worried about the van, which probably most of them are not even going to ride in.
Oh, yeah.
And then,
exactly.
when you're saying that about people grumbling, it makes me think about the footage that we got from J.C. Richardson's church, people coming in late and Dad telling them, "Well, you missed, they've already taken up the collection. You've missed that." And they're all saying, "Well, I came at the right time then."
Yeah.
They're tired of you. I'm saying, why are you staying there then? Why not just come out if you're tired of them constantly hitting you up for money and you're giving towards things that are not even essential, necessary to the community, not doing anything for real outreach, then why not come and be a part of be a part of the true church that you can actually read about in the Bible, where you're actually striving to do some real good to help, like it's saying here, we're desiring your souls. We're giving you our souls in return for this. And we're, like you're showing tonight, we're laying ourselves out on the line.
Well, all we want people to do, seriously, he says it, Keith Ritchie. And I don't doubt it. I don't doubt that he called the police. Mm-hmm. I think that's a reality. That's the only play they have in their playbook. So at that point, I don't like it. I'm basically getting ready to talk to a deputy. And, it's like, got my lawyer's card. It's like, why is this necessary? Mm-hmm. So But here's what I want to say. It's not like, Micah, we get bonuses. You know, as you're looking, y'all, as we were showing 1 Thessalonians 2, it's not about the money. Micah and I are not getting like, you know, a special Christmas time bonus because we crank the heat up, which honestly, this is regular day to day, right?
Yeah, this is what we're into all the time.
And now let's talk to our brethren a little bit too. Micah was going to go see Keith Ritchie about the dancing. We're not Catholic. We're not keeping up with Catholic traditions. Spur of the moment.
Had no idea it was Ash Wednesday.
To my brethren, you study your Bible. You study a bit of denominational doctrine so that you know what you're up against, and you know how to argue it for them, so that you can do the best job that you can communicating with them. I got to say it. You don't need this 2 to 4 week segment where you have to be under the tutelage of fishers of men. It did not take Micah and I any time to switch gears, right? You were ready to go talk, and I said that to Micah when he told me, man, it's Ash Wednesday. We were both thinking, Galatians 5:19, we're going to talk about lasciviousness. So I'm on the phone with Micah, and I said, okay, give me a second. I said, let me get my ducks in a row. Ash Wednesday, okay, what do I want to talk about? And just boom. Stop dragging your feet, right? And now, Micah, let's talk to our brethren about this. Micah has raised support. I have raised support. How many times, Micah, did somebody tell you, we'd like to help y'all out, we'd like to send support y'all's way, but we got this fund going in case the air conditioner goes out?
Yeah. Too many times for me to actually keep count.
Okay. The air conditioner is going to go out. We might need to get a roof in 7 years. In 7 years, we might need to get a roof. How about this? Tell your elders to put in the budget a retainer fee so you can get a lawyer. What are we doing out here? You're talking about, we got to repaint the walls, we got to tear up the carpet. Ain't nothing wrong with this carpet. We're going to redo all these pews. We're going to do this, we're going to do that. We're going to spend all the Lord's money, and none of it's going to evangelism. I'm saying right now, brethren, you're hearing this, you're saying, that's where I am. You ought to be feeling the sting of 2 Thessalonians 2:14 right now. You know why? I love you. Hey, we're not trying to get you off this show because we're studying the Bible, but this is what you need to hear. If you're keeping your mouth shut, you're just as much part of the problem. I talked to a guy today, Micah. He's in a congregation, and the elders told him, if you don't think that it's wrong to send money to an orphan home, you're going to go to hell. So he said, he's talking to me. He's already laying out a plan within, a 7-day plan. Taking action. Now I get it. Let me tone down. Some of them are babes, aren't they?
Yeah.
We understand that. If you're new, 1 Peter 2:2, you are a babe in Christ. I get it. We're going to be patient with you. But I got some of these people, some of these brethren out here, Micah, and they wear this badge. I've been in the church 20 years. You ain't doing nothing. You got a lawyer retainer fee in your budget? You ain't doing it. You ain't serious. That's all there is to it. And you say, of course, Caleb, you would say that. Jerry Moffitt in Portland, Texas. Jerry is an old preacher. And one of the last times I saw Jerry Moffitt, he said, make sure you do like your brother and get arrested. Thank you, Jerry Moffitt, because that is exactly what Paul did. Hey, I don't want to be arrested. You know what I'm saying? But here we are. We're just talking about the Bible. We're going out on the sidewalk. We're on just city public property. Now, I don't know what this is.
This is something that Dad just sent me, and it's still sent around Mike Rogers and the assistance that he would give to us so that we would not get in trouble. Because like Caleb said, we're not wanting to get in trouble. This is them at the city council meeting during the quilt controversy. This is Dad. He's in the white coat. That's Mike Rogers. And this is a pat on the back of approval. And Mr. Rogers then said, quote to Dad, take it to TV later.
Oh, man.
So we're not bad people. Here's the police. Here's the police chief back in the day. And what does he realize about the Church of Christ? I need to work with these people.
Yep.
I need to, in fact, try to help them out so they can continue to do good in the community.
Yep. Micah, I know, like you said a moment ago, y'all are out helping widows. We got multiple widows. Y'all got multiple widows up in Martinsville. Working with them, don't y'all know, we have actually had to protect one of our own widows because a denominational preacher try to steal her land. Her land is right beside his land, and when her husband died, I'm talking about parasite, started trying to take her land, and we had to jump into the middle of it. We try our best. Like he said, this is in Luke chapter 6. We try to help people that we're never expecting a repayment from them, and we don't do anything to get a repayment. That is exactly what Jesus said. Don't do good things to people thinking you're going to get something in return. We want to form ourselves to do something that because it is good. I want everybody to get a clear picture of this. That's Johnny, our dad, and former Chief of Police Mike Rogers. Pat on the back. And let's talk again to our brethren. Let's get 1 Timothy 3, Micah, at about verse number 9. This is Micah. Man, some people, they think that, and I said it earlier, they think we're out for everybody. When a congregation up in Bedford contacted me, and I found out they were teaching they were looking for a preacher. I go up, I visit with them. I find out they're teaching false doctrine, Baal's doctrine, Hicks doctrine. You know what I did? I contacted every young man that they had as a potential candidate to come in. I said, look, you need to know on the front end they're teaching Baal's doctrine. You need to be warned about that. And the guys that I talked to, they said, hey, we did find that out real quick. We took ourselves out of the running. Now, let's go. We want it here. Do you recognize, now Mike and I are not elders. Excuse me. 1 Timothy 3:7. An elder, a qualification of an elder is, he must have a good report of them which are without. The average time span that a preaching student is going to keep a job at a congregation is 2 years. How many of your classmates have you already seen do the 2-year shuffle? And you don't have to give an exact number.
More than I can keep count of.
I see these guys. Now I get on Facebook, I see them, they say, we're so glad to start this work with such and such congregation. 2 years later, they say, we're sad to say we got to go. And it's like, guys, listen, brethren, congregations, you are creating an atmosphere when you won't let these evangelists do their job and stir up Bible study in the community, and you move them around every 2 years, you're making it impossible for them to fulfill 1 Timothy 3:7. They can't build up a report because y'all keep moving around every 2 years. And you might be saying, Caleb, I don't do that. Do you stick up for them when the elders put them on the chopping block? If you don't, you are part of the problem. And now I'm defending my fellow brethren who are young evangelists. They want to do work. And you won't let them. Don't you know they're worried to death? We're going to have to move. We're going to lose income. Me and my wife, they're going to do the Dave Ramsey diet where they're eating beans and rice. Why? Because you couldn't stomach the truth. Micah got us into this. Micah's the one who said, I'm joking. Micah, we're trying to do our best, Micah.
And you know what the ridiculous thing that you're saying about the 2-year shuffle? I don't know if you got this far into the preaching school classes, but many of the instructors were telling my classmates it takes 2 to 3 years to build up a proper relationship. So our instructors are telling us, hey, you've got to be in a congregation longer than 2 years if you're actually going to be able to build up a relationship to be able to help these congregations. All of our classmates are moving around within the 2-year time frame, so what good is going on in the brotherhood?
Nothing.
And by the way, that was Bishop Kellum, that tried to take the widow's land.
Oh, man.
Which, of course, he's dead now, but, he did that and he hasn't repented of it.
Yeah.
So, who cares that he's dead?
Yeah, that's the legacy, man.
Right.
And if y'all do a study of the kings, when a wicked king died, righteous people came up and they said, don't even have a funeral for him.
Yep.
I'm saying when an unfaithful member of the church dies, you're not going to get funeral procession from the brethren. You left the church and you made that conscious decision. Don't be coming over here funeral time. And that's exactly what God's people said in the Kings. They said, don't even give a memorial. Now, let's hit some more, right? You're saying, boy, y'all are just, what? Somebody once called us, they said, y'all just too coarse. Well, we're not vulgar. I get what they're saying.
Someone called you a little hellion one time, didn't they?
I don't know. My neighbor in Tennessee said, you're just punk enough to come over here and tell me that I'm not saved. I would think that's the concerned thing to do, not the punk thing.
Yeah.
So look at this, y'all. We're in the book of Acts again. Let's go to, okay, first of all, let's hit Micah. Okay, look at Acts 4, number 20. Whew, my mic. For we cannot but speak the things which we have seen and heard. So when they had further threatened them, they let them go, finding nothing how they might punish them because of the people. For all men glorified God for that which was done. Now let's talk about ourselves in the community. We got these pastors, and don't you know, you remember at First United Methodist, this is in Acts 4, these are the Pharisees. I had somebody call me a Pharisee the other day. Let's talk about that. You can't say that you're a non-judgmental person when you label me a Pharisee. You're judging just as much as I'm judging. Everybody judges. But what your pastor, Keith Ritchie, is doing is he is putting y'all in the category of Acts chapter 4. Y'all are trying to persecute righteous individuals. Look at the end of verse number 21. He says, because of the people, for all men glorified God for that which was done. Now, I got to tell you, y'all might be hearing the same old callers on Charles Rourke station, Sarcastic Man and Negative Nancy. And they call in, they don't like the Church of Christ. The Church of Christ has a fantastic reputation in this community. We never have asked for y'all's money, right? I'm saying we're not the ones sleeping with the flute player.
Right.
We're not Jessica's Willie Robinson. We're not having a 10-month affair while claiming that we still got the Holy Ghost. I'm not doing any of that. So y'all are able to actually say, glorify God for what the Church of Christ is doing in this area. Now, we're running out of time. But when I say y'all are putting yourselves in this category, let's now check in with Nicholas Hull. Because we talked to Nicholas Hull today also. Again, did it from city property. I'm just on the sidewalk. I mean, what y'all going to do? Make it where I can't walk through that section of town? You know? I am on the sidewalk, and he's standing outside. Now, this is the one, I have one if you go to TV, My Jump Drive.
Oh, right. Okay. I think I already moved it. Sorry.
And yeah, that's it. You will have to go a little bit into it. And this is that one where they say, what's going on? Yeah. You know? Okay, here we go. This is it.
Go back inside.
Go back a little bit.
All right. Well, thank you all. Go in. You can't come on the property.
Nick, didn't you say in the newspaper we shouldn't pussyfoot
Ah,
our differences?
sorry about that.
Isn't that your quote?
No, I did not say pussyfoot.
Yes, you did.
It's in
No,
the
no,
It's
it's
in
in
the
the newspaper.
article.
I didn't say pussyfoot.
Well,
No,
then you need
that's
a
not
My
kind
mute
of
button's not
retraction put up
Yeah,
there.
yeah, and then but there's also the bit about burning the
In there to ask our questions and to do what we would like to do.
because you're not. You're banned from this property.
That's
You've
not even a
nothing
good
productive
answer,
to say.
Because you're not.
I don't want to be on this TV show.
Go back inside.
Nick.
Yeah. All right. Well, thank you all for coming out. And then, so is there anything we need to do, like paperwork-wise, to like?
You want them banned completely
Yeah.
from the property?
No, I don't want anyone from that
Do you
church
know
filming
their
this
names?
property. So I mean, you can find out, right? It's
It's
what
not
do you use,
there.
Caleb, right?
Now the police ask him, do you know their names? And he says, well, you guys can find out. Nick Hull making unnecessary police work for people who are not criminals. Now, don't look at this and say, well, he's stimulating the economy. That's not what this is. He is abusing the American law system. Now, I don't know if you're going to be able to find the exact one where they're just saying nothing you can do. It's like going to be him saying, I want to turn the sprinkler system on them. You know what I mean?
Hose them, yeah. I remember him saying that.
So, and I mean, that's a shot of that police officer. He was very nice. That's the one I didn't know his name, but he knew my name. Very nice man. What's that? Oh, Mr. Producer said Jamie Clark. Jamie Clark, very nice with us. Very nice guy. Came out, very professional with us. And honestly, I'm saying he did it. He's protecting our rights. And, you know, just telling the truth. There's nothing that Nick Hull can do about it. There it is. Thank you.
Just make sure that you don't block the sidewalk.
Okay.
Anybody that's walking. We do have a city code. If you're obstructing the sidewalk from anybody, you can be issued a summons.
Okay. Well, you're fine as long as you're on the sidewalk. Okay. You can film whatever you want to film from public property. Okay, thank you. But if they ask you to leave their private property, well, you're fine as long as you're on the sidewalk. Okay. You can film whatever you want to film from public property. Okay, thank you. But if they ask you to leave their private property, okay.
Filming on public property, you're fine.
Now, right out of their mouth, they're going to tell Nicole, not a thing you can do about it. What do you want to do, Nicole? Man, it's like Micah and I are just waiting for some young folk to come along and say, hey, you know, my name is Rick, and I'm from whatever Baptist church.
We almost got that at Rich Acres. The young
Oh,
guy.
yes.
I
yeah.
went to talk to the head man.
Tim.
Tim. He didn't want to talk. The young guy was there, started coming towards the door, and Tim held him back.
Yeah, Tim put his arm, like somebody said, I'll give you the mama safe belt, right?
Yeah.
Just canceled him out. This is the thing, let's clarify. Someone says, they say, why are you just wishing that these young guys would come out? Okay, let's look at 2 Corinthians 10. And let's look at about verse number, let's see, give me a second. Look at 8. 2 Corinthians 10:8. He says, for though I should boast somewhat more of my authority, which the Lord hath given us for edification and not for your destruction. I don't want to destroy any of these young guys. You know what I'm thinking? I'm thinking they will be a part of the number of denominational preachers who have seen the truth and they have been obedient to the gospel and they're added to the body of Christ. When I see these young guys at denominations, I'm just thinking, you give us 3 or 4 Bible studies and you will at least see the truth. I don't know if you're going to obey it, but you will not leave those Bible studies saying, I didn't see it. So that's why we want to talk to these young people. And you know, come on. Keith Ritchie is not going to help. He's not going to reach any young people by going out salsa dancing. That's just not how you do it.
Okay, boomer.
Yeah, exactly. You know, it's just, that's just the epitome of what you would say is pandering. That's just not it. If you're going to be a Bible student, be a Bible student. Help me. That's the thing. They want to come to people, and it's like, I am just flabbergasted when I do either see it on Facebook or I read it in the newspaper, and I don't know why these people are putting their divorce in the newspaper, but it's like they say, I've only been married for like 7 months and we're ready to get a divorce. You're not going to get any type of substance from Keith Ritchie. Now, you come talking to me, or Micah, we're going to get the book out, and the biggest thing that we're going to do is we're going to find the problem. We want to save the marriage. And y'all, marriages take work. I don't want to be one of those people, you know. Somebody said we're going to get married and somebody's asking, what you want to do that for? You know, it's like marriage, I had a brother tell me marriage is bliss, but you got to work at it, you know. And these people aren't getting any help. And that's Titus chapter 2. The older women need to be helping the younger women. Titus chapter 2 is going to say that they love their husbands. You didn't need any help and instruction when you say, well, we fell in love. It's talking about keeping your relationship together. You need help there. Keith Ritchie will never give it to you. You know why? Keith Ritchie's going to say, well, I'll tell you what I do. I go dancing with Ted's wife, and that takes care of that. That's how to ruin your marriage. Someone comes in and says, Keith, my marriage is on the rock. Well, have you thought about going dancing with Ted's wife? It's like you're not, seriously, young people are not stupid. They see through your pandering. They need somebody more than just someone who's going to go play volleyball with them. Well, we like Pastor so-and-so. He plays volleyball with us. Does he help your problems? Can you actually look at him and say, "This? Oh, thank you, Micah."
And what's even worse is even Charles realizes that what it is that Keith Ritchie's actually doing is setting him up for trouble.
Nobody knows like what Charles is religiously.
No.
I don't know that he would straight up say I'm atheist. I don't know if he would even say I'm on the fence, I'm agnostic. But listen to what Charles Rourke says.
He can call back and see if I'm wrong.
All right, he will. I'm sure he will. Thanks for calling. Hello.
Hello.
Yeah. Need to turn that TV down. We're getting that feedback.
Yeah, I want to say something about that Johnny. Sounds
Okay.
like to me that he's gone slap crazy. Can't even dance no more. He thinks dancing's gone bad.
Well, but you know, I like to dance, and you know, I don't mind feeling the other partner I'm with, but you can't argue with, you know, a little bit of what he's saying there, because usually the dance is going to lead to more stuff, and then a lot of times these people are rushing into it so fast, and then they create the kids. I mean, some
school sock hop.
Now, you're getting it from Charles Rourke. I just said, who knows what Charles is religiously speaking? But when you go to First United Methodist, where the man, Keith Ritchie, is supposed to be the man of God, he can't even tell you. Galatians 5:19, the word lasciviousness. You should not be out dancing like that. And somebody says, now y'all heard him, didn't you? Somebody says, well, y'all just don't know how to have fun. Charles said, you start dancing, you get to moving in too fast, and that's where the kids come. Now, nobody's knocking your kids. I'm sure you love your kids, but there are a lot of y'all out there that I know you would say, we would have liked to have a couple more years before we had them kids.
Yeah, Charles just hit the number. We had one teacher, you throw a rock into a pack of dogs, whichever one yelps, that's the one you hit.
Yeah.
Charles just hit a bunch of people.
Oh, man. Oh, yes. They all know it. And really, now let's say this. I wish Keith Ritchie was not dancing with another man's wife, because I don't want either of those marriages to fail.
And that's, okay, let me say this. That's part of the reason why I was going to do this segment tonight. The dance is not until April.
Yeah.
So I wanted to do this, get it out in front of the community so individuals could get in touch with him and have him stop before this ever happens. You do not need to go through with this. This does not look good. It goes against, like we're saying, about lasciviousness, being, you know, holding your vessel in purity. I mean, just this is the way affairs start happening. Well, we just started spending time together. I was going through physical therapy, and I was spending all this time with my physical therapist, and we just made a connection. And these two individuals are going, and they're close proximity dancing, practicing. They're going to be doing this for 2 months before the dance comes.
It's like you ought to be using your spare free time to go home.
Right.
Go be with your family. And then let's hit another one. We're running out of time, but you can do a word search. I know it's in Colossians where he says, husbands, be not bitter toward your wives. Why? I would never subject my wife to watch me salsa dance with another woman and her even say, oh, it's fine, it's okay. No, it's not.
Yeah, deep down, it is not okay with her.
The jealousy is going to naturally be there. Husbands, love your wives and be not bitter against them. You can't create jealousy in your wife and say that you're actually trying to keep this. Micah, we got 1 minute. Let's hit a recap.
All right.
Friends, why would Keith Ritchie say, his first answer, why are you going to dance with another man's wife? He said, I already called the sheriff. We are number 7. We're in the top 10 in Martinsville for the unsafest cities in Virginia. Is that because of the Church of Christ? Why do the local denominational pastors get to abuse the deputies as their puppets? You know it's not us. Now, point number 2, remember this. Mike Rogers, who used to be chief of police, he did a thorough investigation and he said the Church of Christ is not a cult. They are an acceptable, wholesome group of individuals. And even beyond that, you saw that picture that Mike had a moment ago. He's giving a pat on the back to Johnny Robertson. Why? Because, listen, if you can say I trust him with my kids, you trust him. And he said, if it's good enough for Brad, it's good enough for me. But here's what we're really saying.
And the one guy in the commercial that said, if I won the lottery, I would hire a lawyer to watch my money, and then I would hire Johnny Robertson to watch the lawyer.
That's it. Friends, we love y'all. We love Keith Ritchie. We just want y'all to become Christians and stop being Methodists. We want you to become Christians and stop being Episcopalians. Here's our contact information. Micah can close us out.
All right, 434-429-5221. Appreciate you tuning in, and hopefully this has been an eye-opener to the community as to what these religious leaders are trying to do to us. Man, they're trying to shut us down. You need to be making some calls and saying, hey, the last thing we want to have happen is the Church of Christ have to leave town because we're the only ones watching these guys. So tune in next time. What does the Bible say? Feel free to contact us. Again, thank you for watching, Caleb. Thank you for coming on with us. And until next time, always ask for what does the Bible say. Have a good night.